afternoon, everyone. It's Chris from Axel as well as Solstice. You can find us on both websites, X, which used to be Twitter, Instagram, as well as Discord. Remember, the YouTube weekly video is for free for everyone. Smash it, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family members to learn how to trade side market, up market, as well as down market with no bias. Remember, next week is a short week trading since the Labor Weekend holiday. Enjoy the long weekend, everyone. We'll keep it short and brief, but I want to talk about the overall market, what happened this week and what's going to happen in the following week. Let's go to the first slide I have up here. And what I did, I put micro Bitcoin or Bitcoin. I have used this slide for almost a while, and I showed the head and shoulder or the cup and handle here where it formed. Every time we created a new high in the last month or so from July and August, you can see there is divergence in the RSI. We're getting lower highs while we were going up. So is the index on Bitcoin showing us the lead for the S&P as well as the NASDAQ? Is there going to be rotation from Bitcoin, S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100 to small cap and so on, the energy sector, as well as consumer products and staples? So remember, the RSI here is diverging. You can see the higher high when we created it. The RSI was pointing down, so there's divergence in the trend. Second thing, when we fell down, we have lost the 5 and 18. At the same time, the 5 and 50 are ready to cross. And on Friday, there was a large sell-off. We came back to the prior year high on Bitcoin. This is a very important area to consolidate if it's going to hold. Is there going to be support around the 104, 103, 103, 380 on Bitcoin? That means 100,380. Is it going to support, or the 400, 104 going to be the support area first time it comes to touch and get a bounce? Because the RSI is pointing down. If there's going to be reversal, you got to pay attention to that downtrend channel in the RSI. If there's going to be coming back up from the 38 back to the 50, or there's going to be continuation down to the 20% in the RSI or 23. So trade what we see, not what we think. And remember, there is sector rotations. Let's go to the next slide that I have up here. And what I did, I put Ethereum and I put the E-mini micro Ethereum. Is there rotation? And there's a difference, a surge in different sector rotations. As you can see, when Ethereum ran from this area, the RSI was very strong. We double topped up here on that last leg. We created a shoulder ahead, and that was the bottom neck of it, which is the other shoulder, and we broke up. After we broke up, we created that 4,800 up here in 24. You can see that the RSI was making a lower high from the prior one, and we fell down. When we made a new high, you can see we were in an uptrend in the price of the Ethereum while the RSI had a lower high here. I did not mark it, but you can see that we are in downtrend and there's divergence in the RSI coming to the 50. Is there going to be support in this area here where the neckline is creating an M and bouncing back up? So we're going to trade what we see, not what we think. And remember to protect capital at all time. And this is a very important area I have marked in Ethereum, which is around the 38.2 fib, and that prior consolidation a little bit higher in the 4,070 to 3,870. That's F3, and the consolidation of the breakout in the prior move up when the RSI was pointing down. We broke up, but we created a lower high, and you can see we are in diverging in the downtrend. Let's go to the next slide that I have up here. What I did, I put the advanced decline line. This is going to represent the overall New York Stock Exchange, whatever instrument it is. Let's say it's Apple, Costco, ExxonMobil, whatever the instruments are, they're going to have a plus 1 cent. It's going to represent the advance. That means it's advancing by 1 cent positive or declining by 1 cent negative. And so what I can see, there's a lot of distribution. Other than counting last week's Friday, that big move up here, the breadth was very strong in the advanced decline line, and we stayed elevated above the 1500. We kept pushing up, but you can see in the following week on Monday through Friday this week, the breadth was kind of neutral in the range of 1,000, but some of the distribution is below the 0 to minus 1,000. Does this mean that there is going to be sector rotation in the Magnificent Seven, which is Apple, Amazon, Google, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Netflix. I included Netflix in the Mega 7, Nvidia, as well as Tesla. Here in the Magnificent Seven, I went back avgo, Mags, Netflix, Oracle, and Palantir. So I'm paying attention to these if there are sector rotations because small cap is showing a little bit more strength than those sectors in the semiconductor, the technology sector, and the data base area. So let's go to the next slide. And what I have, I put the overall volume, the advanced volume minus the decline volume. Is there on these pushes up here distribution from large cap growth, tech sector, semiconductor to consumer products, energy, financial, and other instruments that are in the small cap that are more conservative? If there's going to be interest rate decrease due to the Federal Reserve Board, if they're going to decrease in September by half a point, quarter point, is there rotation in small cap where small companies start to get financing from the banks to expand their business? And there's going to be rotation in that sector. So this is why I put the breadth of the New York Stock Exchange as well as the volume, advanced decline volume there to show you that there is a little bit of distribution showing in the overall market and sector rotation. Let's go to the next slide. What I did here, I put the VIX. On what I did in the VIX, it's being range bound between the area of 20 and $15. Every time the VIX came lower, we end up spiking up. Once we get to the 30, 35, 40, in the 40 range, there's opportunity for us to buy instruments that are beat up so we can hold them for the long-term hold, such as large cap company stocks. When they get beat up 15, 20%, 10% down, usually the VIX spikes up. And I'm showing here the range of the VIX because the VIX has been sitting around between the 20 and the 15. It's around the 17. Is there going to be continuation and a reversal back up in the VIX to bringing down the market? So we got to pay attention to that. Remember to check us out. Before we do so, I put four sectors. We had a breakout in silver as well as gold in the last 4 or 5 days. I had cold gold actually on Friday, the prior week, before the run up. I saw that symmetrical triangle was forming, and I said to everybody, hey, pay attention. We're starting the VIX, the gold is starting to reverse back up, and you can see it here in silver, and we broke out. We cleared on silver the 35.90 cents, as well as in gold, we cleared the prior couple of weeks that $316.40. So we cleared it and we broke out. Is there going to be continuation? We're going to trade what we see. Even if you create a cup here and a cup here, there may be continuation in silver as well as gold. Next thing, the energy sector started to break out. If we had a symmetrical triangle in here, we had a flat line, we had a lower, if we drew a downtrend channel from this high to this area here where the control point, this is the breakout and the rally up. And you can take, if you didn't take that breakout, you can take the breakout here. We had a push up. If it creates consolidation in the area and comes back to the 50, look for the energy sector to continue. Here I did the drawing on XLF, the financial. You can see when it broke out, it pushed high because that was the consolidation, then the breakout. And now we're testing a little bit higher. So look at these sectors. Remember, this is for illustration and educational use. Use at your own risk. We're not a broker dealer. Remember that. Protect capital at all time. Let's go to the next slide. Remember to check us out at Solstice. Get in contact with you. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube. And remember, once you subscribe, make sure you get alerts once we issue those videos out to everyone. Let's go to the first slide I have up here. And what I did just an annual chart from 2025 till August. Right now we're going to be in September coming in. You can see we created here on this move in. I'm just going to zoom in this area. Just wanted to show everybody. After that May breakout, we got that professional gap. We rallied here. We retested that small gap here, continued. We had another gap here. So what I'm going to do is mark these two areas, those gaps, just slightly. And what I'm going to do is edit the property, extend it right and left 2-3 days so that way everyone can see those gaps. I'm just breaking them in a little bit, kind of a little blue. with an oval, edit the property. We go 2 days out, 2 days back, so everyone can see those gaps. But the most important thing here, we can see that we created a shoulder, a head, and this is forming some kind of a shoulder. The 50 SMA isn't holding, but the 5 and 18 are starting to snake here, in that we are losing a little bit of strength in the NASDAQ 100 due to the semiconductor. We can see when we created a high here, we created a higher high, the RSI was in a downtrend. If I do get a line and I draw a downtrend channel, you can see that the RSI is pointing lower and the RSI is coming further down. So more important to remember, we're going to trade what we see, not what we think. And we can change these candles, just to show the bodies of them. If we're going to look clearly, instead of candle trend, I can use the bars. And if I zoom in here, you can see where the open, the close of the bar, the highs and lows. It kind of gives you a more of a cleaner chart if you cannot read the bars. Usually when you look at this way, you can see when the bar where it opens, the open, the close, this is a neutral candle. This is like an open here, low, the high and the close of the bar. Here there was the high of the bar, the open, the low of the bar, and the close of it. So usually when we get this kind of a sell-off, what I want to do is go back a little bit. I want to go in this area. You can see that this consolidation here before the breakout on May, we were consolidating for a while. We broke up. We continued higher on a grind, came back down. We retested this large consolidation, but I am paying attention to the backside of this channel in the 50 if there's going to be support. And if we end up breaking, I'm going to look for the backside of this candle here where we broke out on June 20, between June 23rd and June 24th, for that area to fill this gap in order to continue back higher. So I'm not bearish, but I wanted to show the QQQ next to the XLK. I'm going to do the XLK. We're going to go from those bars. You can do the same thing. You can see the gap here. You can see the refill. There's another gap in this area. But what I'm going to do is go back to the style. Remember to use those candles to help you out. I'm going to go back to candles so that way everybody can see it. We can see that there is divergence from this high here when the RSI made a high. We had a lower high here when the price of the XLK, the tech sector, made a new high. It was lower, and we made a lower high on that push up. So is this a head and shoulder and eventually break the 50 to come back to this gap here and this consolidation in the prior year? This was the prior year high where it was made at 241, and you can see that there is a pivot in the 116 SMA will catch up and the 200 SMA will catch up to this area if there's going to be continuation to this downside. If I look at SMH, the semiconductor is in a similar situation. I have marked here the gaps. You can see I wrote gaps. You can see that the shoulder, the head, and the shoulder, and you can see the RSI is diverging lower. So let's take a look at the IWM because there was sector rotation from large cap growth tech sector to small cap. And we can see from the May area, eventually this area here that we retested, we filled this gap. We can see in August we rallied, came back down to the backside of the 18, rallied back up, but on Friday we sold off. Even coming back to this backside of this consolidation area, is there going to be support in small cap for continuation to the upside? So we're going to trade what we see, not what we think, and this is why I wanted to show the small cap in this sector. Last but not least, I want to show all the sectors in the fantastic eight, which is Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix, the ones I labeled. You can see the labels up here in the mega NASDAQ 100, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook, Microsoft, Netflix, Nvidia, and Tesla. This is the magnificent seven or the fantastic seven, but I included there Netflix, and you can see that there is rotation. You can see that double top that we eventually broke up. We created a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. That line, the 50 SMA, has been support for a while. But if this 50 SMA at F6, which is the 61.8 from this high to this low, cannot support, and we broke the 50 in the linear regression uptrend channel, I'm looking for the backside of this consolidation where we broke out. There was a lot of days here where we had consolidation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days on this breakout. And eventually we retested it and broke up. Coming back to that area is very important to find support. And I have marked this area from way back when we looked up here because there was a little bit divergence in the RSI. And you can see that peak here, the RSI is making lower highs in the tech sector. So let's uncheck it. And what I wanted to do, add Palantir PLNR Palantir plus we're going to add mag s orcl orcl as well as avgo and I'm going to add Netflix in there, NFLX. And I wanted to do this. Did we miss one? I made a mistake somewhere. Max. Looks like I made a mistake somewhere. It doesn't want to do. So we'll do them one by one. LP. That's where the mistake was. Okay. You can see in Palantir when we made a high here, the RSI made a peak, fell down. We are in consolidation here. Are we going to lose the 100% extension from the prior year high in 2024? This is the extension. We almost tested the 161, lost the 150% and coming back down. This consolidation is holding the 50 SMA. I'm looking for the backside of this channel and the 116 SMA where there was a lot of consolidation in this area in Palantir. Look at GS mags. You can see it's making a, now it came back in a little bit. ORCL. You can see orcl, similar situation. AVGO. You can see it's in a similar situation. I'm going to show you Dell software a little bit, because this is a hardware instead of software. You can see that it is a little bit compressed. SMCI, similar situation. You can see it's coming back in. If there is sector rotations, we got to pay attention to SNOW. You can see we got a spike up and a large volume in software, correct? Let's take a look at CRWD. You can see similar situation, but here we sold off on Friday. If there was a push in volume and we sold off, something is up in the sector rotation. I wanted to show this, and I'm going to show AMD, last one. And you can see AMD as well in the chip manufacturing, other than Nvidia. You can see that there is weakness when it created a higher high. You have the RSI lower, where we tried to push back up to come out. Friday sold off and took out those 4 days, which is, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. We're back on Friday's move up. If we lose the 50 SMA, that 157, 158 area, do we lose the the 50 SMA in order to continue to the backside of this consolidation? There's a little tiny gap in this area. I'm not going to go through it, but I wanted to show AMD. So now micro ES, and I want to show you how to do the measured move on micro S&P 500. Everyone can do that together, and you can do it on all instruments, including options and so on. So I'm going to do that and call it a day for everyone, so we don't want to make the video too long. So we're going to go to an intraday. You can see in my favorites, I have 30 days, 6 hours. You can use 4 hours. I did not mark the overnight action. I made them dark black, and we can see last week's range when we pushed up on Friday. You can see the push. This is the Monday low. You can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday inside, Thursday pull up, Friday sell off, and we tested the 15. You can see the RSI starting to lose, and we are in 1 week range bound in the last 2 weeks in this area. If I zoom in, you can see that consolidation. We went up, couldn't clear this. We looked above the 5909, 10 area 12. Tried to get to the ADX sprint higher, but fell down. If there's going to be continuation, Monday's a holiday, so we got to pay attention to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday short week trading. If we're going to end up losing this area coming down to the 61 and so on. So what I'm going to do is do the measured move. We take the high for the week, and the low for the week was actually Monday. There's Monday. We extend to the left, edit the property. We're going to make it go back till 8-1 if everyone's okay with it. We're going to go 0-1. At least we have some extensions to the left and right showing us where those levels are. You can see on the daily where my high is and the low is for the week. This was the prior consolidation where we came down, we bounced off, came back in, rallied up, fell back in. So if I'm going to lose this area where the zero line on Monday is and the 116 SMA and 61, I have an extension minus 100 to the bottom in this consolidation where it took us back up. If they're on that short week, or do we catch up with the 200, find support, or are we going to find support around the 63.28? This is very important area, the 63.23, 63.28 in the S&P 500. You can do that on SPY, you can do that on the NASDAQ and so on any instrument to keep you in line without being biased. So we're going to trade what we see, not what we think. And remember, I hope this video was helpful. Check us out on either website, on X, under Chrissy Farah, and get in contact with us. We're here to help. Take care. Over now. Enjoy your week.